Good evening. Welcome to week 2 of MPAI 600 here at Georgetown University School of Continuing Studies Applied Intelligence program. So just getting on to the weeks, or getting on to our second week here in the course. As always, keep up the effort. The way these courses work, everyone is very enthused at the beginning, and then effort drops off as the course goes on. Please don't do that. Please keep up the effort that I saw in the first week. For the most part, most of the discussion sections were good. Still need to go through the current events, but I think just keep up the effort. It does get harder as there's more readings and papers get piled on, but make sure that you try and at least sustain what I've seen so far. I'll say I understand that there's hiccups in the first week, and I just want to make sure they're trying to clear those up. Some people are trying to get into the class, registering for the class, so they might be late, and I can delay the assignments a bit. A couple people are military orders, and I understand that. So yeah, again, we're trying to just get through the first week issues, and I think we should be good to go. I might need to rejigger the groups if there's people that drop out, and I need to rearrange that, but keep that in mind. And again, please just post by Thursday. That gives the weekend for people to get caught up. I know, again, the first week might be we're rolling into this thing and people register late, but from now on, make sure you just, again, post by Thursday. So as you do current events, I do current events, and as I mentioned, sometimes things happen in the real world that are applicable to our class, and we talked about the Bin Laden raid and how ints were used, and obviously, as I'm speaking now, Sunday night, word is that Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, was killed. We obviously are not going to know all the details, at least yet, and I don't want to get into too much speculation because, again, as of Sunday, we don't have all the information. But the one thing I do want you to consider is, if you take my terrorism course, then we're going to talk about leadership targeting, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you create a martyr out of the person you're trying to target. Sometimes it has no effect on the group because it's so decentralized. Other times, leaders are a rare commodity. There's only so many people that have the charisma and the organizational skills to be ahead of a terrorist organization, and the second or third person is usually not as good, and therefore the killing of the leader has an effect. As you watch the news, as you watch the pundits on TV, just think about that one way or another. Will this affect ISIS one way or another, or is ISIS far too much of a decentralized group? And then I want you to think about, as we get more information on how this happened, and I'm sure that there'll be news stories on how intelligence was used to pinpoint Baghdadi. Compare and contrast that to the UBL case study that we just saw you just studied this past week. Did they use all the intelligence? What was the interagency process? What was the trigger that actually got him? And again, despite it probably being classified, I'm sure information will leak out to various press outlets this upcoming week. So just be on the lookout for that. So again, review of last week, you saw the UBL documentary. I apologize, it was originally on YouTube and then it got moved to a paid site. So what you hopefully, and again, the point of this was that you learned about the basics, the theory in the Lowenthal book about the intelligence cycle and about the collection disciplines, and then you applied it to a real-world scenario. And that's why it's called the Applied Intelligence Program, is because we're not just going to go over the theory, we're going to actually try and apply it to a case study. And then I want you to think, when you're doing the current events, apply it to a real-world scenario that's happening now. And that's kind of the point of this course. So again, what you saw in the Bin Laden was the cross-cueing of various intelligence disciplines, the signals intelligence with the al-Kuwaiti and being able to track his cell phone to Bin Laden, the interrogation, the human intelligence of the original person that led to the courier at al-Kuwaiti, and how the intelligence was gathered through human sources, and then the GeoInt, how they monitored Osama bin Laden's the suspected program, and how they mapped out Okay, Bin Laden has 3 wives. It looks like there's 3 families at this location. And they used, again, overhead imagery and GeoInt to do that. And they used all 3 to cross-cue each other to build a very, very good profile on the potential target. And that's kind of what I wanted you to get out of this week. And then you see the intelligence cycle. I talked about it. Lowenthal has his version. I have my own version. Other sources have their versions. But think as we go into this course and you go in the real world, think about the cycle, how it's depicted in Lowenthal or how I depict it, and think where it breaks down or where it's successful. That's a key hint going forward. And again, when you're talking about, even as we get information on this Baghdadi, did they follow the cycle? Where were the success points there? And then they'll probably be studying the failure on one of the many issues that come up. Where did Intel fail? Where in that cycle did the chain break down that caused the failure to occur? That's what I want you to, again, think about going this next week. So week 2, collection strategy, due at the end of the week. Go ahead, pause me, and turn to the example that I put in this announcement as well, so you have an example. Okay, so you saw a good issue for the collection strategy. I want you to, again, develop requirements, apply the intelligence disciplines, analyze pitfalls in the collection cycle. That's what I want you to do. You can do the UBL case study if you want to reiterate it, but most people don't do that. They do a problem set that they work on or they're interested in. And it could be anything from criminal intelligence to the large national security issues, or even business intelligence as well. The point of this is I want you to look at a certain problem set and look at it from the intelligence perspective and try and pull those threads going forward. And again, be creative. I don't want you to get wrapped around the axle. I want you to just kind of put pen to paper or finger to keyboard and try your best to walk through it. And there'll be more in the lectures for this week coming up. So just be advised. And again, this is an exercise so you can apply what you learned in week 1 and apply it to a current case study that you guys might be working on. The reading, so Lowenthal chapter 6, the Intelligence Tradecraft Primer, which talks about, and if you took the psychology course, it's probably a little bit of a repeat for you, but it'll talk about kind of those structured failures or those analytical failures and causes. And the case study is the PBS Frontline, the Confessions. And I want to just emphasize, so you'll do the collection strategy, that's your first part, and the second part is those analytical pitfalls are covered in the Lowenthal as well as the Intelligence Tradecraft Primer. And I want you, for the discussion section, take those pitfalls and apply them to what you see in the confession. I can't emphasize this enough. Watch the confession, the PBS documentary, and show me where those, whether it was confirmation bias or vividness bias or any of those analytical pitfalls, show me where it was committed in the case study. That's what I want you to do for this week. So please do that. And if you don't do that, you're not going to get full credit in the discussion section. So if there's any questions or issues, please let me know. And I look forward to this week's discussion section.